Welcome to my tutorial for Inconceivable mode, solo, and Hivebusters. This is the Gears 5 DLC. And yeah, a lot of action in this DLC. It's only about 3.5 hours long, maybe less. It took me about 3.5 hours on the experienced mode, my first time through. And then for my next playthrough, I went straight to Inconceivable, which really isn't even as hard as some of the parts in Insane in Gears of War 4, so it doesn't seem to be too difficult. I mean, for this type of mode. It's definitely challenging, though, especially if you're not used to these kind of modes. It can be very hard, I'm sure. But if you've played through Insane mode on a few of the other Gears games, then you're probably not going to have too much of a problem. So yeah, for this tutorial, I'm going to be showing combat only. So as far as collecting all the little bullshit, you should be trying to collect all the upgrades, stocking up your ammo between combat scenarios and all that. But that's all basic shit, so I'm not going to get into that in the tutorial. I'm just going to show the combat and explain my strategies for each combat section. This first section is not really even worth showing. It's just shooting some leeches. Very, very easy. But I'm going to try to show all the combat, even if it's not really that significant. So yeah, what I'm going to do is divide this up into 6 parts for the first postings of the tutorial. So it'll be 1 part for each chapter, and there's 6 chapters, and then I'll combine it all into a single video as well. I may also post up an edited version that doesn't have commentary as well, that still has the deaths edited out and combat only focus. I'm not sure about that yet, but I probably will post up an unedited playthrough of this mode that'll show all the failed attempts, however long that takes. I'm about halfway through the game now, so I haven't completed it yet on this mode. There is something I learned a little bit late, and you're going to see it in a second. I realized that you can pick whatever character you want to use. You have 3 different characters you can choose from. And I didn't realize that you could actually play as all 3 characters. For some reason, I wasn't thinking about it, but it's very obvious. When you start the game up, you can pick between, which of the 3 characters you want to play as. And each one has their own unique abilities. So, what I recommend doing is not playing as the character I'm using. He has an ability that allows him to restock his ammo, but you really don't need to. You can just queue up commands when he's one of your allies, and he'll just do it for you. You don't need to play as him. But Mac here has a shield ability, which is extremely useful, especially when you need some time to regenerate health or, get in some headshots real quick. It gives you some time to get out of cover and take those shots, because you die very quickly in this mode, and I'm sure in Insane mode as well. So I recommend playing as this character. Now for this part, you can run through and stealth all these guys very quickly. You really don't need to wait around, as you can see here. They're very stupid. They're not too intelligent. So you can just run through without much thought, as long as they don't see you. But, they really don't see you that easily unless you're, unless they're facing you. They don't seem to be too aware of, when you're hauling ass towards them. They don't really seem to notice it. And then for the last 2 enemies remaining, I just shoot this barrel over here in the ground. That propeller will kill you. The propeller that was by that barrel, I got shredded by that a few times trying to stealth kill those guys. So I recommend just blowing up the barrel, because you won't alert them anyway, because they'll be dead when the barrel explodes. So you won't have to fight them normally. You'll have killed everyone on the checkpoint. So for this part, don't forget to activate this hanging robot by pressing X near it. I didn't do this initially. It's actually an ally that will kill a lot of enemies for you. It has a tripod, and I believe when it dies, you can even pick up its tripod and use it against enemies. So here I'm making sure I have all my ammo filled up, and I'm making sure I have 2 sniper weapons, a sniper rifle and an M-bar. So that's my recommended loadout. And, pick up all the frag grenades in the area as well. They're by that robot that was hanging. There's some frags. There's also a sniper rifle right behind where I'm standing there. So, and there's an M-bar right where I was standing. So all that shit is around that area. So make sure you get the M-bar, the sniper rifle, and all 4 hand grenades. I also recommend bringing over the salvo weapon. I believe that's the only heavy weapon available over there. You can bring that over to the area where you're going to be taking cover, which is behind those barriers that you start at. So So you may want to take all that weaponry over there and have it ready to use. Now, when I had to replay this because I was using the, I think Keegan, the other character, and I wanted a character with the shield ability when I realized I could switch characters because I thought that would be a lot more helpful. So I ended up replaying this part. That's why I was able to get through this part without dying, on this attempt anyway. I think I cleared all the checkpoints without dying until the very end where I died just right when the final checkpoint appeared, and I had technically beaten the level at that point. It gave me credit for beating the level. So I will show that one death just to show how the checkpoint transitioned. So here it explains your various abilities, your Electro Blade. And if you're playing as one of those characters, you'll get the ability assigned to that character. So this character I'm using now has the shield ability, which I find to be the most useful because you can bring up a shield briefly by pressing Y, and it gives you enough time to take headshots on multiple enemies. And, it can give you enough time to heal if you're being, shot at. Very useful. I switched to the machine gun briefly, and I put my sniper rifle on the ground just briefly to kill out these juvies easier, because I was using the pistol initially to take them all out, but sometimes it's not reliable. Now, what I do is I stay around my allies and that tripod robot, and tri-shot robot. And when I do that, my allies take care of most of the juvies anyway, so, I have to shoot a few of them, but no big deal. So now I pick up my sniper rifle again. I left it there, so I just pick it up again. And now what I'm going to be doing is I take this guy's head off immediately because that's a torque bow sniper. And there's another torque bow sniper. I took both of them. Headshots take out guys real quick with the sniper weapons. That's why I try to always have 2 sniper rifles in my loadout. And a bolt-tock, if possible, for my pistol. But usually having 2 snipers will take care of just about any situation, especially if you have the bolt-tock for enemies that get up close, since it fires faster and does decent damage. So here I'm just trying to pop off as many heads as I can from behind these barriers. I throw this grenade here, and that takes out 2 guys since they grouped in that one area. So if you get a chance to do that, you can wipe out some guys fast. So now I believe there's only this one guy left, so I was kind of taking my time. I may finish him off with the pistol to save sniper ammo, which I always recommend doing. If you have guys isolated, use some pistol headshots or just some pistol shots to finish off a guy. Also, if you're caught in the middle of a reload, of course, you can switch to your pistol and fire off a few shots, get some extra damage if you need instant damage. So yeah, I'm mainly staying back here trying to headshot as many guys as I can, as quickly as I can, and I use the barrier to give me some breathing room and take off some more heads. I found this part to be the hardest part so far for me out of the first 3 chapters. So it is one of the harder parts. But see, the quicker you can take off those heads, the quicker you can keep these waves from, at bay so they don't swarm you. You want to try to do that as quickly as possible. Especially on this difficulty because you don't have a lot of time to pop out and take shots. So headshots are much quicker. If you can, pull them off quickly, you can wipe the enemies out quick and not get swarmed. Now I've been saving the tri-shot back here, which was a weapon I believe I probably picked it up on the field, I believe. When I started this area, I think there was a tripod available, or tri-shot. So I left it over there. I'm getting some of my ammo back here with the resupply ability. See, because you don't need to play as that character to use the resupply. You can just tell him to do resupply by holding LB and one of the buttons. You'll command him to do it, and then you just got to get in that aura and you get your ammo back. It's good to do between combat scenarios too, just to get extra ammo. So for now, I'm using the M-bar now. I think I was running low on sniper ammo, so I'm popping off some heads with the M-bar. You can also shoot their heads off while they're sliding down that slope, which I was doing initially. I don't know if I got any of them on this attempt. You see I'm taking off the heads pretty quick. The helmet guys take 2 headshots to pop their heads off. You may want to throw in a few grenades, but, they don't always, if the guys are a little too close, the grenade's not really going to work. It has a large arc. Even when you blind fire it, it kind of goes a little far. So yeah, this guy only takes 2 headshots with the M-bar to wipe out that large guy. I think he's a boom shot or a boomer. Some kind of large drone. So then after he's cleared out and the smaller enemies are cleared out, I go straight to the tri-shot and I finish off the rest of the encounter with this tri-shot. See, I'm taking them out as they're sliding down even, so they don't even get a chance to land on the ground. So yeah, this makes it easy. It makes this last wave of enemies easy if you save it till the end. And I do end up getting killed. At the very end, I actually did die. But see, I got the checkpoint here. And I believe there was another trigger point or a checkpoint that I must have got, because I die at the very end of this. But when I respawn, the level's basically over. The helicopter comes down and blows everything up. So somehow I skipped ahead by dying at that part. I think because I was probably at the very end. See, I die here. So I left that death in to show what happened. And then when I reload, this is what happened when I reloaded. So it must have been at the very, very end. Because now there's really nothing I have to do here except, wait for the helicopter to come down, I believe. There's a pouncer here, but I don't really have to do anything. The helicopter just comes and finishes off the level. So I must have died right at the checkpoint. But they do give you a few checkpoints during this encounter, so it's not too bad with some proper planning. But if you're not taking off a lot of heads quickly, you can get swarmed very easily. So with the technique I was using here, you do want to take the heads off as quickly as possible. Welcome back to part 2 of the Inconceivable solo tutorial covering chapter 2. And yeah, this one, there's a few tricky parts. There's a tough boss battle, but somehow I took him down in 12 seconds, and I'm not even exactly sure what happened to the carrier boss. But I have that clip in this tutorial. But I did have a method that was working pretty well to do fast damage to it. The carrier is extremely weak to incendiary grenades for some reason, so it takes tons of burn damage. So that was a big part of my strategy. So yeah, the first main combat encounter in this chapter is just some robots. Very, very easy. The Boltok really tears through them pretty quickly. But just about any weapons will work for those things. So then you have another combat encounter with more of these enemies. And pretty much anything works. Headshots take them out faster. Even with machine guns, if you put a lot of bullets into their heads will pop off. Just watch out because they will try to explode on you. So try to take them out before that happens. You don't start off with real good weapons for this chapter, so I was able to get a Boltok. So I use that. This character may always come with the Boltok. I'm not sure if characters have their own default weapons, but I chose this character, Mech, as I mentioned in the last video, because he has a shield ability, which is the most useful ability to have equipped on your character. So I recommend playing as this character, because the characters, they all have different abilities, but it's good enough to just use their abilities by commanding them to use their abilities, instead of actually playing as them. You really don't need to play as any of them, except for the one with the shield. I think that's the most valuable one. But yeah, I used the stun sword there. I queued my teammate to use the sword. I think her name is Lenny, or Laney, some shit like that. But she used the sword on that thing, and it did massive damage. And then I just, shot at it from a distance behind that door frame. So now you have more robots, very easy. It's pretty much just like filler combat. You can also pick the tripod off of that large enemy that you just killed. The previous encounter. But yeah, I haven't been showing, collecting upgrades in the environment and, restocking weapons and ammo and all that shit, because it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, you probably, if you're playing on this difficulty, you probably know about filling up all your ammo before encounters. You can also use ammo resupply at any time to, whenever it's charged, to fill up your ammo back up. You can even use it a few times in a row if you want to wait around and enter an encounter with a full ammo supply. So this was an optional area. I didn't even have to go in here. I thought maybe there would be some kind of, ability upgrade in here or some shit, but there was really nothing in here, so don't bother with this room. But yeah, you can stealth kill all the robots except for one. I believe there's one that has to get alerted no matter what. But like I said, you really don't even need to go in this room. But I figured I'd show all the combat encounters I came across. So yeah, now this next encounter, I believe, no, this is not the area with the snipers. This is, I think this is a pretty damn easy encounter. I don't remember if I stealth killed these guys. Okay, yeah, I stealth killed this guy. But that was about it. I guess you could try to stealth kill more enemies if you want, but it's very easy, especially with the Boltok. Just watch out for the Juvies. Sometimes you won't be paying attention to them and they'll sneak in, and they can kill you fast on Inconceivable. And of course you got a few snipers with the torque bow. You got at least one of them here. Which, easy enough, especially with the shield ability that Mac has. You can just kind of charge in and finish him off with the Boltok if you want. And you can take out some of these enemies from above here before you go down. I think I took out all the enemies from up here except for maybe one. But I think you may have to go down to spawn the last enemy, which is a Scion, I believe. But yeah, very easy section. I never pick up the overkill shotgun weapon at all. I always stick to the two sniper weapons just because I don't find a lot of good opportunities to get in close on this mode. Same with Insane. If you're playing on Insane, same basic playstyle I would use. Would be, not to get too close most of the time. And stick to, having two sniper weapons at all times when I can. Sometimes they start you off with kind of, the weaker weapons, so you have to find them on the field. It works good to use Lenny's sword stun move to queue her up because, see, it makes this huge area of effect shock in this little doorway right here. And the enemies are going to have to pass through that to get to you, so they end up getting electrocuted a lot. And she reapplies it a few times, I think, so it's useful to use that ability right here and just stay back and take them off with the pistol. Or any weak weapon, really. The Boltok works great, though, because it's one-shot kills on all of them. So this is a very easy encounter. So after that's done, I think you've got two snipers in this next area. So I used the torque. I must have found it. I think I took it off one of the torque enemy that we killed earlier. I probably got it from him. So use that and just take out these two snipers, and then you can move through the area and activate the valve. Maybe there's three of them. I'm not sure, but once you kill them all, you'll know. It'll tell you. It'll show that you killed all the snipers. So all you have to do here is just pass when the flames aren't coming out. Just run through, and you're going to activate a valve. Once you do that, run back to this area, and you'll have plenty of space to take out whatever enemies come in. You can also use your teammate's sword move. You can activate that, and that'll give you some extra damage. The fire grenades, I recommend actually getting them. If you can have 4 fire grenades, see, I passed on it because I didn't realize the strategy, but see, I passed on the incendiary grenade, if you noticed. But I recommend collecting 4 fire grenades, incendiary grenades, and have them on hand and don't use them. Save them for the boss because the strategy I use on the carrier, I only use 2 incendiary grenades and it takes off more than half of its health. So it takes a lot of burn damage from those things for some reason. So if you had 4 of them, I believe you could probably just throw 4 at them and it'll probably just burn to death if you do that. I think the damage may stack, so you may be able to just throw 4 fire grenades at it and just burn it to death immediately. You have to wait for it to burn to death, but If that didn't work, then you could probably, throw 1 or 2 grenades on it and then come back and apply the rest of them to finish it off. I'm not sure if the damage stacks, like, the actual damage values, if they stack when you apply multiple burn status effects on the enemy. So that I don't know, but I know I put 2 fire grenades on the carrier immediately and ran away, and it would take off half of its health every time. So I recommend having 4 fire grenades. I think it'll make that boss very easy. Because there's really nowhere where you really need to use grenades. I mean, you can fight off most of these encounters with regular weapons pretty easily. I mean, the pouncers are actually pretty tough, so I mean, it's possible you may want to use some grenades on them, but if you don't need to, save them up for the boss. It's probably better. Because the boss fight can be very hard with all the juvies running around. So yeah, these are pretty standard fights. You see you can hang back pretty far and take out these enemies, so this is nothing you haven't dealt with already. You can also shoot at those ice-making machines, and I believe it may cause a small explosion and freeze some enemies. But I kind of got that effect anyway just by using the torque bow, since it explodes when they're near that, and it'll activate that. But it was easy enough. Of course, the torque bow will take out that large enemy real fast. He will kill you very quick with his machine gun, though. So, just be careful about that. But 2 M-bar headshots will take out those large drones, those scions. And 1 torque bow headshot will kill them as well. So that's an even better way to do it if you can pull it off. So yeah, now this part's kind of hard. The flock, you have to kill these swarm enemies that actually, I think it's just the flock. I don't know what the fuck it's called, but you've dealt with these things many times in these games, so it's nothing new. I think there's 2 of them. Yeah, there's 2 of them at the same time in this part, so it's a little trickier. The main issue is that sometimes they'll drop down leeches on the ground they can sometimes kill you really fast. I mean, a lot of times you will get out of it, but sometimes they will straight out kill you, so you just want to keep your distance and take shots at them. I think there is a mulcher or something like that in the arena as well, somewhere. So you may be able to get that, make things easier. But I think after you kill one of the flock enemies, the pouncer comes out. And I went the grenade method on him, but what I wanted to do was tag him. And I believe you can kill the pouncer with 1 grenade tag like I did in various other Gears of War games on Insane. That was my favorite method to take them out. But the best way to do it is when they're on the ground, crawling on the ground. You can run to them, tag them with a grenade, and then just run off. So that's a fast way to kill pouncers if you're having trouble. If not, just keep your distance. So for this, I immediately throw 2 fire grenades at the boss, the carrier. Then I run over here, grab the boom shot, and before I can fire my first shot, the carrier was already dead. See? Boom. Just died. So somehow he died in 12 seconds. Got a super fast kill. And I mean, that's not really the best thing for a tutorial because I don't even know what the fuck really happened. But after that occurred, I already had the boom shot that I was going to use on the boss, so I just wasted it up on the on these juvies. Because I don't carry boom shots around most of the time because I like to have 2 sniper weapons at all times. So I find those to be much more useful overall. So yeah, what I was doing, I'll try to explain it a little bit better. There's really nothing for me to explain here because all you got to do here is just haul ass and get to the end. But for that boss, what I was doing, I would throw 2 incendiary grenades on it immediately when the fight starts. So that's what you saw me doing at the beginning. Then I would run to that back room every time and grab the boom shot immediately while applying my shield. And I would cue that woman to do her sword attack. She would usually attack the carrier with the sword when I did that. So I think the carrier probably took huge stun damage. Maybe he was vulnerable and took extra damage because he was in a stun state. And maybe one of the juvies exploded on him and did massive damage. But I'm not sure what the hell happened. But he died very fast. But then what I would do was I would use that boom shot that I collected in that back room. And I would unload all my boom shot ammo on the carrier. It's even better if he's opened up. You'll do a little bit more damage. And I would try to get the juvies with some of the splash damage that when I was hitting the carrier. I would try to do it when the juvies were getting close to the carrier, because they will sometimes spawn around where he's at. So after I was done doing that, I would actually run off to, I believe, the left side. There was another boom shot around that area, and I'd grab the second boom shot, and I'd just unload that on the carrier. And by the time I finished all that, unloading about 12 rockets on the carrier, it was mostly dead by that point, and it wouldn't be that long to survive. But it was still a tough fight, because you would have to unload quite a bit of ammo, and the juvies would break through sometimes. So it wasn't a real reliable method, but it was probably it was a faster way to do it. But I think the fastest way to kill that guy, I got lucky on that, but I think the fastest way to do it would be to go to that fight with 4 fire grenades, like I was saying, and just unleash all 4 fire grenades on that boss immediately when the fight starts and just run away, and it may burn to death. I didn't try that. And like I said, if the damage doesn't stack, then maybe just do them 2 at a time, or 1 at a time, and run away. And but you would only have to attack it 4 times max maybe to beat it. I mean, that's my theory anyway. Welcome to Act 3 of my Inconceivable solo tutorial. Actually, Chapter 3. In this chapter, it only took me about 25 minutes to beat. This was one of the quicker and easier ones, for me at least. There was one combat encounter that I could see being very difficult, but I beat it pretty quickly. But there is one combat encounter where you do get surrounded pretty aggressively, so that's going to be the main highlight of the video. There's also some bullshit with a carrier that basically, if you don't understand what you're supposed to do, you get killed instantly, since you take such high damage on Inconceivable. So it's kind of just bullshitty initially, but it turns out all you really have to do is, I didn't have an automatic weapon, so for that part, I recommend having the hammer burst or something like that. And I believe you can pick it up on the ground. So I ended up doing that, and then it was easy. I just didn't know what the game wanted me to do. I tried putting up my shield, and that didn't work. So I'll explain that, but it'll be pretty self-explanatory. So basically this entire chapter is just riding a door down some lava. It's a cool concept, because you're constantly moving, and you're taking attacks from different directions as the cover rotates. Similar to a boat sequence near the end of the game. So for a while, you really don't even have to waste ammo and participate, so you can save your ammo. You can just ignore the juvies in this area, I believe. I don't think they come down. As well as there's some drones that fire at you at some points that you don't have to deal with. See, I shot at that guy. I think you have to fight at this part. So I still have my sniper weapons, the torque bow and the M-bar. I always try to carry 2 sniper weapons and a bolt-tock. That's usually my loadout. So if I don't have access to the sniper rifle, then I might have an M-bar. But there's really only 3 sniper weapons in the game: the torque bow, M-bar, and the sniper rifle. So I pretty much always have 2 sniper weapons when possible. The bolt-tock works great for taking out the juvies in one hit, no matter where you hit them, and it's fast. And the sniping weapons can take out the larger enemies very quickly. Even the very large enemies, one torque headshot can take out the largest drone enemies, like the Scions, I think they're called, or Scions. So these guys have the helmet. You just don't want to let them get close to you since they have that shotgun. But you should be able to stay back here and snipe out most of these guys pretty easily. Sometimes it just depends if the enemies happen to be firing or focusing on you, when you don't have your shield up, because you'll get hit and killed pretty fast. The pouncers will kill you pretty much instantly if the needles hit. So, be careful when you pop up to take shots at them. Just wait till they fire and then try to pop off a shot real quick and then get back down in cover immediately. As you can see, I'm waiting for it to fire. And I ended up using my bolt-tock and I just pop up after it fires, and I just fire a shot into it. And it's very easy like that. This is the first part where you have to break the roots here, so just shoot it with the bolt-tock. I wouldn't waste your sniper weapons on that. So yeah, for this part, I believe this is the part, yeah, this is the part with the flock. So for this part, you can speed up this fight if you shoot those lava spewing things at the right time when the flock is underneath it. You'll do a lot of extra damage. So now this part, I don't know if you fight the flock at this moment. Maybe you have to fight it a little bit later. I don't remember exactly how it played out. Yeah, I think you fight it a little bit later on in the ride. Okay, yeah, here it is. So now you fight the flock. And see, if you can do it right when the flock is underneath that one in the beginning of the fight, that does a lot of initial damage. And then I think you can get it again when it moves off a little bit from that. I think I was able to get it again pretty quickly underneath one of them. So, I mean, that's the best way to do it. See, I was able to do some good damage with that. You can, of course, use your regular weapons, but, I mean, it takes a lot longer with regular weapons to take those things out. They're not hard, though. It's just that it just takes long, you know. You've probably fought a lot of these things before if you've played these games. I didn't notice this one dropping many of those leeches on the ground on this platform, so I didn't have much of a problem with that. I ended up using my torque bow to finish it off. So yeah, now we're about halfway through this stage already. And I believe this is the hardest sequence coming up. Which I managed this sequence by trying to get as many headshots as possible to thin the enemies out. Which is always, almost always a recommendation with these snipers' weapons is to try to headshot everything quickly. Because it really kills the enemies fast if you can do it. And a single torque bow headshot will take out the large scion enemy. So you see me popping off these snipers real fast with the M bar. You know, 2 quick headshots will take them out. And they can be, of course, a big problem if you don't take them out. They'll pretty much one-hit kill you on this mode. So use your bolt-tock to take out some of these loose juvies moving around. Before the next wave shows up of the larger enemies. Watch out for the exploding juvies especially, but they are easy enough to pop off. So you get another checkpoint here. And again, I'm using this particular character, Mac, because of his shield ability, which I find to be the most useful character to use in the game. And you can pick what characters you want. So here I'm headshotting all these enemies real quickly. I got at least a triple right there to take all those guys out. And yeah, Mac is great because of his shield ability. So I'm popping off more headshots here, clearing these guys out. The M-bar is great for that. Torque bow is a little bit harder to get quick headshots with because it takes a while. It takes a bit longer to charge. Of course, the sniper rifle, you can do instant headshots because it doesn't have to charge up before you release it. But the M-bar is fast enough for me. I like the M-bar. So I got that guy, popped him off. See, so continuing with the headshots. Got that guy behind the bush with a headshot. So they didn't really have a chance to rush in. As long as you pop off those headshots aggressively, I didn't have much of an issue with those guys. Now I think there's a scion that appears here. And I think I used a torque bow to headshot him with a single bolt, because the torque bow will take off heads with a single shot. With the M-bar, you may have to do 2 headshots to take out the scion. But with the torque bow, a single headshot takes his head right off. So it is an easy way to deal with those guys. And you have some grenadiers coming down with the shotguns. At this point, I think all you really have to focus on is trying to take out the tree roots. I think I didn't realize that that's what I was supposed to do at this point. So I don't even know if I had to fight all these guys. I'll see in a moment as I watch the video. But I was clearing out a lot of these guys. I don't know if I had to clear out all these guys. The door may not be stuck on the root just yet. I'm not sure. I would have to see if it moves. Ah, yeah, see, I could have shot that root the whole time. So if you're watching the video, just keep that in mind. You can immediately start attacking the roots. You don't have to wait probably as long as I did. You can probably ignore these enemies and just take out the roots. You just have to pop off when you have a safe time to do so. I was pinned down for a while, and I didn't want to lose my checkpoint by dying, so I was waiting for my shield to possibly recharge before I finished off the route. Because, see, my shield runs out here, and I was getting low on ammo, so I had to use my M-bar pretty much. I only had a few shots at M-bar, so I ended up using that. Tried to blind fire it, but that didn't work. So here I'm just kind of patiently waiting for either my shield to recharge or mainly for my shield to recharge, but I ended up not waiting it out. I just took the shot. Because you die so fast on Inconceivable by popping up while bullets are coming through, you could easily die. But I just took a chance on it, and I was able to pop off that last route. But you can do that much faster, especially if you have your shield and you have some ammo left. You could, end that much, much quicker. So once you shoot those routes, you pretty much get the next checkpoint, and you're done with that section. Now here there's some bullshit with the carrier that killed me a lot of times, but all I recommend doing here is picking up an automatic weapon. So pick up the hammer burst on the ground here, or the enforcer, one of them. Hammer burst works well because it's a little bit better at range. So pick that up, deploy your shield, and try to shoot these fireballs that the carrier is sending out. Try to shoot as many of them as you can and dodge. If you don't shoot them, I noticed that if I didn't shoot them, I would get killed. So try to shoot as many as you can. And as long as you know to do that, it shouldn't be hard. But I died a lot because I didn't know exactly what it wanted me to do. And I had very slow sniper weapons. And I think I had no ammo left as well. So I couldn't really defend myself until I picked up one of the machine guns. I may have had one M-bar round left or something, and that was it. So once I picked up the hammer burst, it was easy. Just got to shoot those things. And that finishes this chapter. Welcome to part 4, chapter 4 of my Inconceivable solo tutorial. This level's really not too difficult. This is really there's really one area that's a little tricky, but if you take it slow, it's not too bad. It's when you get in the silverback mech. It's a little tricky. If you try to run through, you can get annihilated, but as long as you take your time and take everything out slowly, it's pretty easy, just a little tedious. But yeah, in this beginning part, you can stealth kill a number of the enemies if you want. Great action in this campaign, though, overall. I like that it's mostly just focused on, mainly combat. Even though it's short, it has a lot of great action scenes. Definitely enjoyed playing through it on Inconceivable. It was fun. It never got too difficult for me at any point. It was a little tricky. There was, you know, the first main combat encounter in the first chapter took me a little while, but part of that was because I got myself in a bad position with one of the checkpoints with, you know, low ammo. But yeah, other than that, it went pretty smooth. If you've played through Insane before, you'll probably breeze through most of this. I did some pretty heavy editing on this part because after killing a few guys, I did a lot of exploring of this area. I was trying to find mainly upgrade components to try to see if I could get some more of the upgrades that I missed on my first playthrough. I really didn't know where they were located, so I searched this entire area just to see if I could find them. But I don't think I found any in this area. And of course, I'm not including that in these videos. These videos are just combat only, but I'm sure there's some good videos if you're looking to find all the upgrades and all that. But I really didn't need all that shit, honestly. It's overkill because Mac already has a shield ability that's great by default. So that was more than enough. I mean, you know, I'm used to beating these modes without any of all the extra bullshit, you know. I mean, in Gears 5, Jack made the game much easier than Gears 4. So, on Insane. So, you know, for this, just having a shield was more than enough. But I tried to grab them when I could find them, but I didn't ever, you know, look up any videos on where they were located because I really didn't give a shit enough to do that. I just wanted to play the game and just, you know, just play through it and just beat it. Now, if it had given me a lot of trouble and it was really, really difficult, then I would have probably looked into that more. So, yeah, there was a heavy edit right there. See that transition? That was me editing out all the exploration. But you do get a checkpoint around here, I believe. I think you may actually have to go down the ladder and go down into that area to get the actual checkpoint. I think that's how I got it to pop up, the checkpoint. And then I just came back up here again. I went down to spawn. I think I went down to spawn more enemies at one point. So if enemies aren't showing up, you can try running down, try to spawn a few of them, and then run back up the ladder. And if you have the loadout, I recommend, you know, always having 2 sniper weapons. If you have that, you know, that loadout, then you can at least take out a lot of the enemies from all the way back here. And they really don't pose any kind of threat to you, you know, if you take your time. So I did get a boom shot from somewhere. I think I found the boom shot in the area behind me when I was exploring, the part that I edited out. I was exploring the area behind my character. There's a lot of buildings and stuff behind there that you can explore, and I think I found a boom shot in there, if I remember right. So you can find some. I think you find some grenades and some other good pickups back there if you don't have certain things, but you know, it's definitely not essential, but you may want to go back there and see what's back there. I don't think I found any of the upgrade components back there, though. There is an upgrade component in the very beginning of this, when this stage starts. If you go off to either the left or right, when this stage first starts, you'll find one of the upgrade components. So you can miss it if you're not searching the houses. But you should be searching everything if you want to get the upgrades. But like I said, I don't think any of them proved super useful for me in beating the game anyway. So I would say they're very optional to get. A lot of the upgrades were for characters other than my own anyway. I only got a few upgrades for this character. The explosive ammo replenish upgrade for the bald-headed guy, whatever his name was, that was a useful one. Because it allows you to replenish torque bow ammo between fights, and you can make the torque bow a very viable weapon to keep on hand at all times. Otherwise, the torque bow is not really that useful to carry around because a lot of times you won't have ammo for it. So it's very limited without that upgrade. So I'd say that's the most important upgrade to get because it allows you to have the torque bow on hand at all times, and you can always replenish it to 9 ammo if you need to. Otherwise, if I don't have that upgrade, I would probably just have an M-bar and a sniper rifle at all times. But either way, I mean, the torque bow, the M-bar, the sniper rifle are all great choices. It's just a matter of preference. The torque bow does more damage in certain situations. Like the torque bow headshots will take off a Scion's head in one headshot. Fully charged torque bow bolt to the head. So it's a little faster than the M-bar, which will take 2 headshots to take off, to kill the Scion. And of course, you get some splash damage with the torque bow too, which is good. But all the sniper weapons can do massive, take out enemies extremely quickly if you, are able to pull off rapid headshots. So I just took my time approaching this kind of slowly. I just waste up the boom shot because I'm not going to be holding on to it anyway. I don't keep the boom shot on me, so I just got it to waste it up, and then I'll try to get another sniper weapon to replace it with. The Boltok is also great. I always have that on hand. You can replenish boomshot ammo with the explosive ammo replacement upgrade, but I just don't find the boomshot nearly as useful as like a torque bow or another sniper, rifle, sniper weapon. So here you have some juvies, and you just use the Boltok again and just pop them off. It's probably the fastest way to take them out. And these parts are very easy. It goes on for a little while. You have a decent amount of these enemies that you have to take out. But, always very easy to deal with them. Of course, on this difficulty, they take you out, I think, in like two hits. So if they hit you once, you'll be near death if they give you a little slap. And the exploding ones will instantly kill you if they explode on you. So you got to watch out for that. But see, like I got hit once and I was near death, so that was a little close. I also queued up, I think, the sword attack, which will deal with them if you want to use that. It recharges fast enough, so you don't have to wait to use a lot of those abilities. They all recharge pretty quickly. So yeah, pretty soon I think it'll be on the silverback sequence with the mech, and it's really not hard. You just got to take it slow. If you try to move through fast, you'll get annihilated. But as long as you take your time and kind of crawl through, which I'll explain. It's very easy. It's a little tedious, but it takes a little while to do it slowly. But that's why this video is so much longer than the other fights, because of that fucking silverback sequence. It just takes long, but it's not hard. You get quite a bit of these wretches spawning in. Even when you think you're done, there's another wave of them that comes in. So just take your time with that. Keep some distance. If you need to have the shock sword, have her use the shock sword, and it'll put down a big electric field where they'll basically get electrocuted when they walk into it. So now you have a very easy fight against a warden. You can just play Ring Around the Rosie. Toss a few grenades and just run around one of the pillars. I think I run around this tree trunk in the middle and toss some grenades, do a few torque headshots, and that's about it. Very easy. I mean, you can just keep doing Ring Around over here, just doing circles around this tree trunk, and he'll never get to you. And I do a similar method later on the Snatcher boss, later in the game. But yeah, enemies have trouble getting around that, especially this guy has no projectile attacks. He does have a ground smash, which, does have a far distance. It can do a lot of damage to you if you're close to it. But I don't think it goes through the tree, so you'd be pretty safe. And a few torque headshots, I just kind of just went with the, tried to get a few headshots when I could, and the grenades did most of the damage. So that's very easy. You have a little bit of a longer combat sequence in this area. So, but nothing difficult. If I remember it right, it's just a matter of kind of just taking your time and moving through here a little slow. So I kind of just take my time. When you have sniper weapons in this mode, at least in this game, you can, in most parts in this game, you can sit back and pull bullshit with sniper weapons. So, if you're just looking to win, it's a good way to do it. I'm also going to pick up the buzzkill a little bit later, and I'll use that to get a few extra kills, even though it's not the safest weapon to use. I didn't have many enemies left, so I was able to finish off maybe 1 or 2 scragglers with it. I don't recommend walking out in the open with the buzzsaw on Inconceivable since you die very, very quickly, but you can just, if you want to use the buzzkill and walk out in the open, just use your shield with Mac. And that'll give you like maybe 7 or 8 seconds to just walk out in the open and just, annihilate people with the buzzsaw. But that is an option if you have shield available. You can do that. Want to be a little bit more aggressive. I think that's what I end up doing near the end of the fight. I had some enemies not spawn for a while, so I went back and got the buzzsaw and came back, and I think there was a few enemies left. They just weren't participating for some reason. But yeah, very easy part. Pretty damn typical for this. Sitting back sniping. You never really you never get in trouble to where you get swarmed if you stay back and take the guys out. It's very easy. Yeah, so here I got the buzzsaw. I edit out a little bit of the exploration, walking around and fucking around, but now I have the buzzsaw, and I think this is where I finish off a few remaining enemies. Yeah, there's some asshole hiding back here for some reason. Maybe more than one. But they didn't come out for some reason, so it took a while for them to appear. I had to come all the way back here to get them to show up. So now I use my shield and I just go aggressive with the buzzsaw, and I think I was able to do some pretty good damage before the shield wore off. And then I just snipe out any remaining enemies. So you almost got killed there. You do die very, very quick. A few pellets will kill you on this mode, so you got to be careful. But it's very easy. Just take your time. Take shots when you have available. I don't know if you get a checkpoint by this point, so if you die here, you may have to do that whole scene over, but it's an easy scene anyway. It just takes a little while. But if you play it carefully, this whole section is pretty damn easy, for this kind of mode. There was really only a few parts that were a little bit tricky, like I said, for me, that they gave me a little bit of trouble. Of course, it's going to vary from player to player, but I can't see anything here giving that much trouble if you've played through Insane Mode on Gears 4, which was much, much harder than this shit. And even the Insane in Gears 5 was considerably harder than this, and that really wasn't that hard at all. There was a few tricky parts, but with all the abilities you had with Jack, Gears 5, for me, was pretty easy on Insane. It was pretty painless. Gears 4 actually at times was quite hard on Insane. There were some parts that gave me some trouble. I mean, it wasn't brutal for me, but it was, there were parts that took me, a while to beat. So yeah, for this part, you're going to get in the silverback, and like I said, this part is not hard, but if you try to rush in, you'll get destroyed, and I don't think you can get out of the silverback. So if the silverback gets destroyed, you just die. You do have regenerating health here, so your silverback does not take permanent damage. Keep that in mind. It does take a while. It seems to take a while to regenerate the full health, so you want to have an area to kind of hide out and just wait it out. And you have your machine guns, which are good for taking out most of the regular drones, but don't forget about the rockets. But the rockets, you have to be completely stationary. You press A to go into rocket mode, and you get stuck in the ground while using rockets. So you also only have about 37 or 40 of them, I believe, so you have a limited supply of rockets. Machine gun is infinite. This part's very easy. Just stay back and shoot all these juvies that appear. Kill some of the drones. Where I originally got killed was because I walked through this doorway, and you get annihilated by snipers and all kinds of bullshit through that door, but it's very easy to avoid if you just take your time. You just gotta take out guys slowly and then retreat back. Kind of typical for modes like this. If you try to run forward with the, like I said, if you try to run forward and just barrel through everything like you did on experienced mode or normal, you will definitely die. Yeah, so here I'm just making sure because these games like to throw spawns at you like that. Surprise spawns, and then you get killed because you die so fast on this mode. You don't die as fast as you do without the mech, though. That's a real fast death, but you still die relatively quickly. The mech moves slow, so if you have to back up, you have to back up very slowly, or you have to turn fully around and then go into run mode. But either way, it's very slow with the mech, so you don't want to get stuck to where you get gunned down and can't get out. So here I'm just taking my time. I clear out the guys on the bridge, and I'm just inching my way forward. So it is pretty fucking tedious, but it works. And after these guys, some snipers will appear, and then a scion appears. And I think there's another scion farther down in the area. So yeah, these overkill guys are very easy if you're still back here. Just wipe them out. And, I'm letting my health replenish fully before moving forward because you don't really want to go in with, already damaged. But as long as you have somewhere where you can just wait around for a little while, you'll get your health back. So now here there's some bullshit snipers, which can be really cheap. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to edge forward and trying to see if I can get a shot on them. What you need to do is shoot the barrels by the snipers. That's the fastest way to take them out. If you shoot them directly, it's, probably less effective. But if you shoot the barrels, it seems to kill them every time. So yeah, see, my health was already getting low, so I backed up. And any enemies that try to rush in, I will just clean them up from back here, as well as cue my partner to use the electric sword attack. She might clear out some drone enemies or something with that, so I just cue it up. You can't use your shield ability while inside the mech, so you can't just run through. The main danger, I think, here is these snipers with the laser beams. And, of course, you got this guy with the boom shots back here, this Scion, I believe it is. So, a good way to take him out is to use these missiles I'm using. Press A to go into missile mode, and you can wipe him out very fast, as you see there. You just don't want to have any walls or barriers blocking you. And your stupid fucking teammates will get in the way of your shots, obviously. And then, in Gears 4, I've fired boom shots into my teammates because they went in front of it and got me killed. So it is an irritating feature that they will get in the way of your shots. But just take it slow. Go through the clean out everybody and just move slowly through the doorway. When you don't see anybody anymore, then you can start moving again. But just be aware that once you go around this corner, another wave of enemies is going to spawn, and there's going to be another large Scion and some other bullshit come at you. So, just take your time. Don't try to, you figure this part's empty, so you run through and then you can get killed. So, just proceed slowly and be ready for a wave of enemies that just spawn out of nowhere. See, there's some enemies that just spawn down. And there's the Scion. See, they just kind of spawn out of nowhere. The guy breaks through the wall. And that can get you killed. So eventually I ended up retreating and just playing it safe. Because it's very tedious. I didn't really want to do all this again for trying to be, I was almost dead anyway. I almost died from that. So, you just want to heal up all your health in this doorway and then, just let them come to you, mostly. Once you have the enemy's attention, of course, they're going to be trying to chase after you, and then you can just take them out easily. Yeah, see, there they are. They're still kind of just fucking around over there. But if you get your missiles, you can blow them up from far away pretty easily. So try to keep your distance and just, unleash some of those missiles. You probably have some left. So use them all up because this is the last wave from what I remember. I think these are the last enemies. I think there's going to be a pouncer after this, but I think by that point you already have a checkpoint and it's really easy. Yeah, I tried to run and I started squatting down. It's a little bit of weird control. If you tap A, you go into that squat position where you can launch missiles, but you can't move. So, sometimes I'll do that instead of running. But yeah, very easy part, just a little bit slow paced. I'm not sure if you actually get the checkpoint here. I'm actually not sure because I didn't see it pop up. But yeah, you do have to kill this pouncer. So at least you know about that. I did mention that. So use these pillars as a little bit of cover. Maybe there's a few pouncers here. I don't remember. But either way, if you use these pillars as cover, you can pop off some shots. Use your missiles if you want. Missiles are a little bit more dangerous though because you have to plant yourself in one position. And that means you have to be out of cover because you can't plant yourself behind a pillar and fire missiles or you'll shoot the pillar. So it is dangerous to use those missiles. It's probably not the best thing to do. It's probably a little dangerous that I did that. You may just want to use your machine guns and be careful. They do get pretty aggressive here, I see. I didn't die on this part, so I don't know if there was a checkpoint at these pouncers. But I would play it safe. Try to take out the ones that are, the biggest threat that are, immediately on your ass. And snipe at the other ones. And, queue up your abilities if you have them, like the sword and shit like that, because she may actually be able to use it on one of them. If they come down. And that's it for this chapter. Welcome to part 5, chapter 5 of my tutorial for Inconceivable Mode Solo. And this is getting near the end of the game, so this is pretty far in. When sliding down these little slopes here, you can get one hit killed if you slide into one of the spikes, so be careful of that. If you nudge it on the side a little bit, I think you can glance off of it and still survive. But I did hit one directly and instantly died. But yeah, very easy. Sometimes the camera will be a little bit off, so you may have to adjust it. See, I died there. I think I hit it pretty direct. I must have missed that one in editing. But at least it shows what can happen if you don't steer too well. So yeah, these are really not combat related. I was mainly showing combat, but anything that shows any kind of gameplay where you can get killed, I pretty much include. This chapter took me around 55 minutes to beat, so not too long. But you do slide down these little slopes for a while. So yeah, once you get down here, you'll have your first combat encounter in the area. You can use those flaming pods. You can shoot those to do some extra damage and burn some enemies. So if they're standing next to those pods, be sure to burst those for some extra damage. Aside from that, you can just sit back here and snipe for a while. This is the very easy part. Nothing out of the ordinary. There is going to be a, I forgot what it's called, a snatcher. Yeah, there's going to be a snatcher later, and you can kind of just run circles around the pillar and it won't really be able to spit on you. You can just take shots at it. Very easy fight. Aside from that, there's one big encounter that's, has quite a few enemies, I believe. There's one part that's a little tricky. But there's really nothing that stands out too much in this chapter, difficulty-wise. Watch out for these shotgun assholes. Maybe use your shield or try to take them out before they get close. They're pretty much harmless until they get within, shotgun range. And then they can pretty much kill you instantly. as usual. So yeah, after you break through here, you're going to go for another sliding ride. You don't have to shoot anything in here because you'll just slide through. The only thing you have to worry about is dodging the little spikes. It's more of a cinematic scene. Yeah, and I still recommend using Mac because he has the shield, so when you start up the game, you know, I'd recommend selecting this character. I didn't realize for a while that you could actually pick which character you wanted to use. And you can, they all have different abilities, as I've mentioned. You probably know that by now. But Mac I find the most useful with his shield. You pull a lot of bullshit with that. You just deploy the shield and then you can take some nice shots at enemies, you know. Maybe take off a few heads. Pretty much same shit here. This is pretty much a repeat of the last encounter. Not much different. It's a little bit harder because there's a little bit more room to move around and there's more enemies, I believe. I think I died a few times on this part, but overall it's pretty damn basic. I mean, you die from just about anything on Inconceivable. You know, it doesn't take much damage to kill you. So if you get a little bit overly aggressive and run out of cover, you can easily just get, you know, destroyed. But it's pretty easy for this kind of mode. It's a lot easier than Insane mode on some of the other Gears games. So definitely not an inconceivable amount of difficulty. So yeah, after you complete that, you may want to use the restock ability and restock all your explosive ammo. That's the great thing about having a torque bow. Once you get that explosive ammo upgrade, you can replenish explosive ammo between fights, and if you want, you can fully fill up the torque bow. It has some advantages over some of the other sniper weapons, since it can one-shot the Scion enemies. You can take their head off in one fully charged shot, instead of two with the M-bar. So yeah, for this Snatcher fight, I just got behind this pillar. I tag a grenade on the front of the pillar just to do some extra damage, because he always follows me over here. So you get a free grenade by setting that little trap. And then I just shoot at it with the torque bow. I think if you hit the pouch on its stomach, I think it does extra damage, but it doesn't really matter, because this is a very easy way to take this thing out by just sitting behind here. These type of enemies have always been really easy to exploit in the Gears games in the past. But if they spit on you, if the acid does land on you from its spit, that acid, if it touches you, it can easily one-shot kill you. It's very deadly on this mode. But it's not really much of a problem because you can just run around this pillar, throw some grenades out, a few torque shots, and that's it. So you shouldn't have any trouble dealing with that strategy. So now you have a little bit more aggressive combat after that part. But it's really nothing too special difficulty-wise. So yeah, you can get back some of your explosive ammo by picking up some torque ammo here in this explosive crate. And of course you can use your resupply from your ally to get some more ammo if you have time. They do give you a little bit of time to do all that, to restock a little bit. And now the next checkpoint will activate. It pretty much activates after a certain amount of time. The next wave comes out. They give you a little time to resupply. So as usual, try to headshot as many of these enemies or torque them as you can just to get rid of them. You can use those things in the environment, those exploding little things in the background. You're basically just going to deal with a lot of drones on this part. And you just want to try to take them out before they get too close to the back area where you're taking cover. You can even get farther back and take shots at the enemies. You can get quite far from the enemies if you want and snipe them out. The juvies are probably going to be the main threat, because if you're not paying attention, they can jump over cover and do massive damage. But they're easy enough to pop with the bolt-tack as long as you are aware of them. You can usually tell they're around by their little squeals that they make. So yeah, pop off some heads with the bolt-tack if you run out of your sniper ammo. The bolt-tack is great. Especially finishing off when there's only a few enemies left. So yeah, after clearing out that wave, you're going to have another wave with a Scion. And a bunch of drones. So if you can group them together, the torque bow is good because the explosive damage will hit all of them together. So you get a little extra damage doing that. I just try to torque them all as fast as possible just to get rid of them. You don't have to worry about torque bow headshots on the smaller enemies most of the time. Some of them with more armor, like the Grenadiers, might take 2 body shots. But, most of the weaker ones you can get with 1 good torque shot to the body and kill them. So here I whip out the boom shot. I picked that up at some point. And I start expending that on the Scion, which, as you can see, takes around half of his health with the 1 shot I landed. And I think I finish him off. You see, now he has a shield that comes up, but the boom shot does a lot of splash damage, so I actually end up taking out the drone with the splash damage from the boom shot. It works well for that. Then I finish him off. And you can use your bolt-tack to pop off a few of the scragglers. But yeah, if you're aggressive with the sniper weapons, it shouldn't be too bad. The bolt-tack works great for finishing off enemies. I found the flock enemy to be more dangerous in this part of the game for whatever reason, where the leeches it drops would one-hit kill me sometimes, but that could have just been bad luck. I may have taken previous damage from something else, and then it may have finished me off. But I found them to be a little trickier, but it's still very easy. It's pretty much the same shit you've dealt with fighting the flock enemy. I actually found this claw weapon to be really useful because all I had was sniper weapons, so I found that the claw worked well for this one part. It's the only time I used it. But it worked well enough, especially since I didn't really have a lot of reliable options. I could have used one of the Mark weapon, I think it's called. It's kind of like a machine gun type of weapon, but I never really used it much in the game. But I found that the claw was pretty good for this. Basically just taking cover, and whenever these things land on the ground, try to take them out, because they can kill you for sure if you get hit by multiple things at once. But I only died a few times on this part. It wasn't bad. And now after you kill this, there's really just a survival sequence where you can pretty much get to the back of the room and just survive for a little while, and you'll beat the stage. I didn't know that initially, so I was being more aggressive, but once I realized that, I pretty much went to the back and started sniping shit from way back. And, I'm not even sure that I had to kill anything for this part. I probably could have... Welcome to the final video of my Inconceivable solo mode tutorial, and this is going to cover the final stage. There's really nothing too significant here difficulty-wise, but it is useful to grab the torque bow right at the beginning of the stage, right behind this waterfall. With the explosive ammo upgrade, where you can replenish explosive ammo using Keegan's ability, it makes it a good weapon to have around, since you can constantly replenish the explosive ammo and keep it on hand for the entire stage. So yeah, you just got some wretches for a little while. You're going to be shooting at some of these wretches, or juvies I think they're called in this game, but very easy shit. The only real irritation in this stage is for me at least, was the final boss was a little bit irritating, because It can one-hit kill you, and it's a little tricky to know exactly what it's going to do. But I found a decent strategy for it, and they do give you a checkpoint about midway, so it's really not too hard at all. I believe this stage took around 53 minutes or somewhere around there for me to beat. But I'll have to check again after I finish this commentary. I'll list the full completion time. I think the whole game took me a little bit over 6 hours to beat on this difficulty for all the chapters, but I'll post the exact time after I finish this commentary. But yeah, there's nothing too difficult in this chapter. There is one part where there's going to be a boat ride, and it's actually useful to hoard up a lot of weapons and load them up onto the boat. But aside from that, there's really not a lot of strategy for this chapter. Probably one of the easier chapters. So yeah, just use your shield, and now that you have that torque bow, take out as many enemies as you can before the shield, runs out. You should be able to take out most of the enemies while that shield is up, and then just finish off the rest. You can also send in the female character with the sword stun move. That sword attack can kill off some enemies sometimes, so you can queue that up. Now you have some torque bow snipers, so take out the remaining final one, and now you'll have a scion that appears. And some pouncers. So a few headshots will take out that scion with the torque bow. I think you can take that scion out with one good headshot if you get a fully charged one. But for whatever reason, I needed two. Maybe I missed one of the headshots. I'm not sure. For this, I just used some of my fire grenades to finish off one of these pouncers. And then I finish off the last one with the torque bow. If they get too close, you may want to be aggressive, because they can kill you very quickly. So they can be very dangerous. They can kill you in one hit if you get hit with all the quills. But you have a pretty decent-sized arena to run around and take shots at them, so try to keep your distance if you need to. And just take shots at them from far away. And use your sword ability, queue that up. Because if she stuns it with the sword, you can probably do some extra damage while it's stunned. And I believe the sword attack does decent damage on its own, too, so it's pretty useful. The bolt tack, of course, is always good to have on hand. You can do a lot of damage with that. So here I went down the left path. I found that to be a little bit easier. But they're about the same. It's basically just clearing out more of those juvies, and then I think there's a drone or a few drones at the end of the path. But very easy. Restock your ammo if you want, or you can always do that between combat encounters by wasting up his ability. But yeah, it's very easy. All you really have to do is just stay back, and you should have a mulcher from one of the previous areas, so you can just use that. Or you can use the bolt tack like this and just pop them off. There's a grenadier down in that lower area. I'm not even sure if you have to kill those enemies down there, but I think you probably do. Because I think you have to go down there. Or this area may require you to kill everything. I'm not completely sure, but it was easy enough to kill all the enemies. So yeah, the next combat area is going to be this, going into this this ship. There's M-bars on the ground too, so you have plenty of sniper opportunities. I have a sniper rifle, so I was able to get that somewhere. I don't remember exactly where, but as long as you're searching the environments, you should have 2 sniper weapons by this point. A torque bow and maybe a sniper rifle, or you can have an M-bar and a sniper. You know, any combination of those 3 sniper weapons is good. I never pick up any of the shotguns or anything like that. I always, you know, carry sniper weapons only for the most part. So yeah, a few headshots will do massive damage to those guys and take them out pretty fast. They drop tri-shots as well, and you have other shit on the in the arena that you can grab and bring into the next area. I actually go back to this area to get the, I think it's the rocket salvo. After I waste up the tri-shot, I run back here and replenish that. So yeah, once you go through that little doorway, there's going to be some more enemies. I think you may not get the checkpoint yet until you clear out the enemies that are inside that doorway. At first you have to take out, I think there's some of these enemies try to surprise you, but there's going to be some more enemies once you go in there. But it's very easy with the tri-shot. You can just clear it all out very easily. So yeah, now I grabbed the salvo, but I think I did end up going back and getting one of the other weapons. So yeah, this part very easy. You just deal with some of these robot enemies. If you have the salvo, you can just clean them all out very easily. Pretty much wipe them all out in a few seconds. So yeah, that clears out that whole wave, and then I guess I didn't have to go back to get the heavy weapon. I thought I went back for it. But yeah, this part is not hard. The main focus should be taking out the 2 large robots with the tri-shots. So go for headshots. You can take them out with 1 torque bow headshot if you do it right. If not, it may take a few, but once you clear them out, you got to deal with some, smaller robots that are easy. And you can stay really far back. You can use your shield ability. And then you're going to have 2 of these floating drones. Flying drones. So once those come out, maybe move back a little bit. And you can take some shots from way back here. You can shoot them with the shield on. It'll just, you'll have to damage it before the shield goes down. But still very easy. They take massive damage from any sniper weapons once the shield is down. There's also a little gap in the shield near the bottom where the gun is coming out. If you shoot in that gap, I think you may be able to hit them directly, but not completely sure. But it's very easy. So now you have enemies fighting each other. So you can just clean up whatever survives. I focused on the larger enemies like the Warden and the other large Scion type of enemy. I took those out first. But it probably doesn't matter too much. It's a pretty damn easy part. Just be careful of the snipers. The shield lets you take some shots at the snipers if you need it. It is kind of dangerous to pop up over this waist-high cover. But if you go to this wall right here, it's better. It's a little bit safer. Yeah, so now you have the opportunity to load up a bunch of heavy weapons and various other weapons onto the boat. So I recommend hoarding some weapons and just loading them up on the boat before you activate the lever on the boat, because then you're going to go on a little boat ride. And you'll get to keep all your weapons that you have loaded up on the boat. If you die, I don't know if the checkpoint saves all the weapons. That I don't remember, because I think I beat this on my first try. On this mode, I don't think I died here, so I wasn't sure if it would save it, but it's really not too difficult. It does help to have those heavier weapons for when the flock comes out, especially though, because the flock can take a lot of shots and it can pull some bullshit sometimes. So it's good to try to kill it fast. The tri-shot will kill it pretty quickly. You see I have a few tri-shots loaded up, some salvos, various weapons. So yeah, at this point I had enough shit. I pretty much loaded all the heavy weapons on. I think I grabbed one of the M-bars too, but I don't know if I ended up using it. This is a very easy part, and then after this is the final boss, which really isn't too difficult. So yeah, a few of these juvies may drop onto the boat, but I mean, very easy to take out. Just use the bolt lock. Your team ends up taking care of some of them anyway, so there's not really that much you even have to do. So now you have the flock that shows up, so that's where the tri-shot's going to be useful. The mulcher, any of those heavy weapons will be good. I think first there's a few more of these loose enemies that show up. You might have an occasional drone. The tri-shot will tear through these enemies as well, so you should have a few of them loaded up anyway. And you can pick off those drones that appear up on the ledges. If you can headshot them, you'll get them out of there real fast. course, you can always restock your ammo during the fight by using the ability, Keegan's ability. But yeah, now you're going to want to grab a tri-shot or something similar and, you know, just start shredding them up. I think I wasted up some torque shots initially, but the torque does good damage to the flock as well. But the tri-shot, I think, is a lot better. They don't really drop too many leeches on the boat, it doesn't seem. So, I mean, you will occasionally have to deal with them, but I was getting one hit killed easier by these enemies in the lava chapter for whatever reason. But not too bad here. I didn't even die on this part. So yeah, now I pick up the tri-shot. And after this, I believe it's the last boss after this ride finishes up. And the last boss really isn't too hard. I mean, it can one-hit kill you with its vomit attack. But I found that if I kept circling around it before it came out of the ground, I would usually be, you know, circling around in the opposite direction of the vomit. So I'd usually be able to shoot it in the back of the head or something like that. So basically, I think the main strategy I would recommend is just circling around it. The torque bow works decent on it, actually. Does nice damage when you land torque shots. For a secondary weapon, I would probably recommend either the M-bar or maybe some kind of machine gun to chip away at it. That's why I took the Retro Lancer initially. But so as long as you're, you know, you want to put your shield up too if you have it, just for a little bit of extra, you know, insurance. But as long as you're walking around in a circle when it comes out, it seems like you have a good chance of circling around it and shooting it, not getting hit by the vomit. I mean, that's what I did. I died several times, but once I started doing that, it seemed pretty easy. Just keep circling the whole time. Use the pillars for a little bit of cover, too. That seems to help. And after this, you get a checkpoint. I believe this is the final checkpoint of the game. So all you have to do now is finish it off. You don't even have to take all of its health down to beat it. You have to get most of its health gone, but you don't have to take it down to the very end. I did kind of a risky maneuver, and I got the buzzsaw, which I found, and I just started using that. Since you get a checkpoint here anyway, I took some risk. But the buzzsaw did nice damage. The boom shot really doesn't seem to do a lot of damage, but the torque bow does nice damage, so I recommend the torque bow. I think the M-bar might be decent, but I didn't end up using it. I think I just ended up using the buzzsaw over here in this corner. And of course, if you have your shield available, you can use the buzzsaw with no real risk since you'll be shielded. But I just played a little bit aggressively, and I just kind of went all out with the buzzsaw. Wasted up all the saws. And then maybe finished it off with some torque bow shots. But not really a safe way to do it. I got lucky too, you know, but it ended up working. Yeah, now the boss is almost done. A few more torque shots will kill it. Maybe one more shot. yeah, that's it. So really not that hard of a boss fight. And, the game really wasn't too bad difficulty-wise, but definitely a lot of fun. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.